And Toretta intercepted by Teague. George Teague to the end zone. Touchdown. Hall is now right in the middle. That's his blitz. Passes away, penalty flag down. Lamar Thomason's got it. Lamar Thomason's on his way down the sideline. George Teague is after him and runs him down. Takes the ball away from him. Teague's got the ball. And they tackle Teague back at the 12. Game's over. Alabama defeats Miami. Number 2 beats number 1, 34-13.
Blitz on from the 1. And they throw a fade right side of the end zone for Owens. He got both feet in. Touchdown catch over the shoulder. Here we go. They're going to have a big fight. There goes Owens. Puts it down. And he levels it.
Here it goes.
And now Teague is aimed at by an offensive lineman. Flozell Adams pulls Teague away. And Owens is waved to the bench. And he stands in the middle of the star and holds the ball out.
Let me tell you something, Brad. Terrell Owens started it. Emmett Smith went out to the 50, trumped him. Now Terrell Owens comes back, and George Teague said, you know what, I'm not going to take this. Good for George.
Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome into another edition of Teague's Take. I am IndyCar Tim alongside George Teague and JT, and if you are watching the video right now on YouTube, on Periscope, and on Facebook Live, you will see that we are not live as normal at the Maverick Bar in Carrollton, Texas. We are instead doing a virtual show live from our individual homes, which I guess makes sense. It'd be weird if we were at each other's homes doing this. We've got a great show for everybody tonight. We'll get into a little bit more about the virtual show a little bit later. We've got some Alabama information for you, some Heisman talk as related to a Heisman Alabama quarterback. We're going to talk a little bit about some medical issues possibly with some of the teams during COVID, what's going on there. Some Kyler Murray versus Lamar Jackson. George has some hot sports opinions on all of this, and I can't wait to hear that because I guarantee you mine are going to be different. So we'll see how we go into there. We want to welcome everybody. Also, if you're listening to the recorded podcast on your favorite podcast app or on georgeteague.com, wherever you listen to the show, please go in, give us a like, give us a review, subscribe so you get those notifications for our new weekly shows. They are out every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. But, of course, as always, we have a very, very special guest. George seems to line up the best guests for these things, and I'm very, very excited, very privileged to announce one of my radio DFW idols, the University of Iowa's own, Mr. Mike Doocy. How are you tonight, Mike?
Tim, doing well. Thank you very much for having me in. George, thanks so much. JT, yes. Good to see you. George has done our show at Fox 4 a dozen times or more through the years, so I was very happy to hop on his show here tonight and spend a few minutes with all you guys. Thanks a lot.
Well, I apologize. We can't all be together in person like we normally are. We always have a good time, but sometimes these virtual things get a little bit out of control too. Well, we'll see where it goes.
I think this is just George's way of getting out of buying drinks here. That's pretty much what that was.
But you know what? We're going to make up for it a little bit later when all this stuff's over for sure.
Right. I have one for you anyway. Just
good deal. Good deal.
On the house. So, man, we really do appreciate you coming out, and thank you for all the opportunities. I don't get to say it enough, the opportunity that you give me to come be out on your show, and you always do a wonderful job of, allowing me to voice my opinions. I try not to be opinionated too much, too often.
Right. It's fun. It's fun. Yeah. You're always a great guest, and it's just you've invited us out to practice at John Paul a few times. We've done broadcasts out there and stories on your team, but just to talk Cowboys and NFL with you has always been great. So looking forward to catching up with you guys.
Yes. Well, we got a lot of stuff we got to touch on. We got so much, and I'll tell you guys, and it's hard for us to talk about the Cowboys every single week because we're always trying to find.
It's even harder
something positive to say, So I want to ask you one question about that, really, because this is a a philosophy that I'm starting to tussle with. One as a coach, and then another one as a fan. Like, they're both in the same thing. But when you get to this point, when the future doesn't look very bright as a team, like this in the pros, and particularly, should the Cowboys now be trying to play for draft picks where we're ranked at versus, I don't know, making a strong finish over the next 8 games? What do you think? Should they be trying to?
That's a great question. We talked about it on our show last night, and I phrased it about the same way you did. Should Cowboy fans actually hope that their team loses the rest of their games? Should they hope that the Cowboys go 2-14? The conclusion I came to was they're not really going to have to try to lose games. I think they're just going to lose games regardless of how hard they try. I mean, God bless these guys, but just the way this team is constructed right now, and it's one thing after another. It's Dalton getting the concussion, and now Dalton out with COVID, and you just, I think I underestimated, and George, you probably anticipated this more than I would have. I thought, they got Dalton, you got the best backup theoretically in the NFL. We all know Dak had developed, I think, into a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. But I didn't anticipate the drop-off to be as significant as it was between Dak and Dalton. And maybe it's the offensive line. Maybe it's the fact that Dak could buy time back there with that bad O-line that Dalton can't. So now you don't even have Dalton. So I don't know. I would be interested in your take on this as a guy who played so long and so well. I don't think you ever want to instill a culture that says you're not trying to win every game. But are there situations where maybe you play some young guys just because you want to get them reps? Wink, wink, if you know what I mean.
Yep,
make sure that they get in there. And certain veterans who maybe just aren't quite totally healthy. We better rest that hamstring this week. Might things like that come up? I don't know. I mean, I heard Jerry on on Tuesday morning on his radio show on The Fan being asked that, and unless I heard him wrong, and with Jerry, it's hard to tell sometimes exactly what he's saying. But unless I heard him wrong, he didn't totally deny the fact that maybe you do try to develop young players, but by the same token, they're still trying to pretend like they have an opportunity to win the division, and that's still worth doing. So I guess the short answer would be I don't think you ever try to lose games, but I think the way this team is going right now, they're not going to have to try. They're going to have a really bad record regardless. They're going to get a really potentially good draft pick no matter how hard they try to win games.
Well, and you're right. I think, as a player, so when I was in Green Bay early, before we started making deep playoff runs, it was always funny to me, especially in Green Bay, not because we were god awful, because we weren't. We did go to playoffs my first year, rookie year. But I can clearly remember guys having their U-Hauls loaded up, packed, and ready to get the hell out of Green Bay just as soon as the game was over. Yeah. And that was a little bit different to me. Like, really? I mean, you're leaving the games today and you're out of here by, Tuesday. I mean, it was kind of that fast, kind of deal. So that was a little bit different to me. And it's hard for me to fathom that as a player, to not always give my all and try to win. I don't swallow losing very well at anything. So even at this point, I think I'd be having some issues. And I think we hear it.
I was going to say, I even balk at the concept of, I hear people say the Cowboys should be in a rebuild. Well, I don't know how you can ever totally say you're in a rebuild as long as you feel you have a franchise quarterback. And I think they still think that they do. Now, do they need to rebuild that defense? Yes. Obviously, they need a ton of help there. But, they're in a situation where the injuries are such where I think it's reasonable to think that your offensive tackles are going to be back for at least another year to be able to help you. And, to think that Dak will be back and in turn, that'll help Zeke so that offense will be okay again. But, you don't try to lose games, but I think this is just such an unusual season with the injuries and with just the as bad as this offense is going to be now without a quarterback to go along with a defense that might be historically bad, that they're going to lose games no matter what they try to do.
So, Mike, along those lines, let me throw something at you here. How much different would this NFC race be? How much different would this offense be had Dak not gotten hurt?
I think that's a good question. We all know it's not like they had a losing record with Dak, but he was keeping them in virtually every game. I think they win that Philly game. I think we'd all agree to that. The defense played, I think, significantly better. Was Wentz awful? Yeah, he was.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the way the NFC East is. I mean, there's a classic NFC East battle with just one team giving it up to the other one, giving it away. But I think, Prescott would have made some plays. I mean, Danucci, again, God bless the rookie for getting out there and trying, but that was just hard to watch. I mean, you just talk about just crystallizing how the fact that it's so difficult to play quarterback even decently well in the NFL when you see somebody thrust into it in that situation where he just wasn't even making the basic throws. So I think Dak would have made enough plays that's a game that they probably win, and he keeps them competitive. Are they going to go 13-3 this year with him? No, just because that defense is so bad. But they're right there contending for an 8-8 type season, or even 7-9, which might win the division.
Well, I want to ask you about the offensive play calling this week in particular. We saw Wildcat with Zeke taking some direct snaps. We saw Cedric Wilson get back there and take some snaps at quarterback. We saw all kinds of reverses.
I'm not hearing JT. Are you guys hearing him?
Yeah, we got him.
Yeah, we got him.
I'm not hearing him for some reason.
Oh, that's not cool.
Mm-mm.
No, I can hear him.
Can you hear me?
I'm hearing everybody. I'm hearing you too.
But not me.
Still not hearing him. Sorry about that.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, I thought that was going to be a good question.
You can pass it along for me if you want.
Here, I'll interpret. Go ahead, JT.
Yeah, so we saw Zeke.
We saw
running
Zeke
some Wildcat.
running some Wildcat.
We saw Cedric Wilson taking some snaps at quarterback.
We saw Cedric Wilson taking some snaps at quarterback.
We saw all kinds of trick plays and misdirection.
All kinds of trick plays and misdirection.
Why don't we also do this with our starting quarterback and just expand the offense even more?
Why don't we just do this with Dak and expand the offense even more?
I think that's a great point. I said the same thing.
Interview I've ever conducted, by the way.
It's what my producers would love to do for me. Just to have me just lip sync with their saying. I was saying that, speaking of producers, to my guy in the office Sunday night when they were running this stuff, and I didn't necessarily say for Dak, but why not give Dalton that kind of help? When he's in there too, rather than expecting him to run the same offense that Dak does. But no, that kind of creativity was refreshing. And you speak of Zeke and getting the ball to him, in that formation, man, anything that can help Zeke at this point is good, because what a struggle he's had. I think it brings up a larger point about the offense too, and that is, will Mike McCarthy get to the point where he's calling the plays here? And he claims that that's not even a consideration right now. And maybe the sinking ship that this season is, he might just say, no, Kellen, you go ahead. You call the plays this year. You give Garrett Gilbert your best game plan on Sunday and go for it. He might not want any part of this. But that puzzled me to begin with. Why do you bring Mike McCarthy in here with that resume and that reputation, and then use the old, the former guy, not old, he's young, but the former play caller, the current play caller, just keep doing what he's been doing? I don't get that. But
do you think it could be because
to JT's point, yeah, creativity is kind of a generic term that those of us who aren't as close to the game as George was throw around. But I think it's kind of a nothing to lose situation. You're turning the ball over anyway, just on the most basic of plays. Why not spice it up a little bit and maybe get some of your playmakers involved on offense in a way they haven't gotten involved so far?
Well, we'll figure out when he can start hearing you. Have you started hearing JT yet?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I'm
sorry.
not sure what that is. No, it's all good.
We haven't had that before.
Yeah, that's weird. But anyway, so what do you think of, since JT is talking about creativity and all that, and this is kind of a question posed out of one of my this is funny to me. But anyway, from one of my fantasy leagues, my Defender of the Star fantasy football leagues. It's all just a bunch of people. We actually got some people from the UK and other places in that one.
That's great.
And so they brought up the notion that, all right, if our quarterbacks are going down like that, why don't we go ahead and run the option? Let's get Zeke the ball. And is that too creative or what?
Yeah, that sounds like something somebody from the UK would throw out there. No, I don't know, George. Come on, let's calm down just a little bit here. That might be taking it a little bit too far. Maybe when Jerry finally appoints himself coach, that will finally happen.
That hasn't happened already. But anyway, we could bring Chan Gailey back. Didn't Chan Gailey run the option at some point in time?
He's already in Miami.
Yeah, he's at Miami.
He's already working.
Yeah, he's coaching Tua right now.
Yeah, Chan's back in the league now. Yeah,
it's okay. I don't know, old Chan, man. I miss him. He was a good dude, man. I know it didn't work out.
He was always good to me too. I did his coach's show on Channel 4 back in the day. That's one of the few stories that I've actually broken at Channel 4 was when he was hired. We camped out at Love Field and talk about 1 million years ago, got grainy video of him getting off the plane with Jerry at 1 a.m. And that was before social media.
I swear I remember that.
So I went home and got a few hours sleep, drove downtown, picked up both newspapers, Star Telegram and Morning News. And I thought, just once have them not have it. Just let me have this story. And I scoured through the paper and it wasn't there. So went on the air at 6 a.m. on our morning show. And there we were with that video. And in about 10 minutes, everybody else had it. But no, he was a good guy. We've had a few coaches roll through here since we've been doing this, haven't we, George?
Yeah, yes, sir, we have. Yes, sir, we have. And we're going to get it right. I still think McCarthy's the guy. I think there's some other things like you alluded to about why didn't he call it a plays or whatnot. I don't know what all that is, but I just think he did such a tremendous job in Green Bay, putting those guys together. There's some personalities up there as well and, different landscape and all that kind of stuff that I think that if he gets the chance to unleash everything that he needs to, I think we can get this ship righted.
No, I agree. I mean, I liked the hire. To me, I don't know, it made all the sense in the world given what he'd done and the fact that he was going to be able to come back or come in and work with a quarterback like Dak Prescott. It's one of those years. I'm not saying you get a free pass necessarily, but in a way you do, just because it's been said 1 million times. You didn't have the kind of off season that you normally would to work with the guys. And then just the devastation of losing your quarterback that way and so many other key pieces. If they're 2-6 at the halfway point next year, then that's a different discussion. But right now, I think you can't write off McCarthy. Did you guys talk about, though, the fact that guys went off the record and criticized him on NFL Network? Did you talk about that at all? Does that bother you, George?
No, it bothered me a lot, as a matter of fact. I thought
and that's not a reflection on the coach at all, you don't think? Or is it just the players that should just do their jobs and shut up?
No, I think some of it is on the coach. So, for instance, I had a tough conversation with my football team today, when there are critical things that may not be favorable for us in certain ways, but in these I'm dealing with 14, 15, 18-year-olds, that kind of stuff. And I just think that it's important that my players know that whatever the situation is, they need to be able to at least address their position coach, their coordinator, or the head coach in particular, and come to me and say whatever they need to say without feeling like there's going to be some kind of repercussion or something, because I think that's going to ultimately make us a better football team, and it's going to lead into more trust, and we're going to play for each other. And, especially at that point, their age, they should be able to talk man to man to someone and say, man, you know what? We just don't feel prepared. If that's what it is, we don't know. And I might have mentioned this on a previous show. I can't remember, but it was Mike Zimmer, was one of the best guys for me to be able to talk to, because when things were too hard for me, I could say, Coach, oh no, man, I'm struggling. And he was never, you're a dumbass, or you can't get it, or we got to get someone here. It was never that.
He was thinking it, but he never said it. Yeah.
Now, that's right. You're probably right. He probably went back there to the coaches and did it. But what he did come back and say, well, we tried to talk to it. Well, what part is confusion? What is going on? And, ultimately he made the decision, okay, we're going to scrap it. We're not going to do it. It's probably not what he wanted to do or whatever, but he said, if you can't play fast and if you're thinking too much at this level, you're not going to have success. Now, ultimately, maybe later you got to make a decision to say, get his butt out of there. We got to trade him. We got to release him or whatever. He can't remember anything, because that happens to people. But I just think now when a player can't go talk to a coach, I got an issue with going to a media first. And so I need to flip that back on you, in all of your years of being in media. Have you ever had any player, slide you the note or whatever and tell you, hey man, we got some stuff going on?
Yeah. Not very often, to be honest. I think, full disclosure, I'm not a guy now we're not out at the Star at all. I'm not. They're restricting the access so much, but even during normal times, I'm out at Cowboys, once, twice a week, perhaps, unlike the beat writers who are out there all the time. Now, there were times, I'll put this delicately, during, let's say the latter, this dates me, the latter Switzer years, when things started to go south there, where I think it was pretty evident that certain guys were unhappy, and they weren't hiding it. But so there've been a few occasions like that, but hasn't happened a ton. And by the way, I'm glad you said that about Zim, because he's one of my favorite guys that I've gotten to know as an assistant coach. There have been so many characters that have rolled through the Cowboys as assistants, with Campo, of course, who was later head coach, kind of miscast as a head coach, was a great assistant. The late, great Coach Joe, just guys like that I think about. So I hope Zim can get things turned around in Minnesota this year a little bit too.
I hope so too. That is, I don't know. He got a special place in my heart as well.
Okay. So I got one, George, real quick. So we saw today on social media, the Cowboys are announcing that Doocy will not start, apparently, against Pittsburgh. And they're going to go with either Gilbert or the recently reacquired Cooper Rush. What? I guess I don't understand why. Like, are we? I understand Doocy did not play well and was horrific to watch, but neither one of the other guys are going to be the future of this team either. It seems like your 7th round draft pick, you'd want to see a little bit more, or do you think they're trying to protect him, or what are they thinking here?
I think that's a great question, and it's maybe it's a little bit of a protection thing, but I kind of doubt that, because I don't care right now. A 7th round draft pick, they're not worried about protecting him. If they think he can play well enough to help them stay in the game for a half against Pittsburgh, that's probably the best they can hope for. I think it was just so painful to watch him out there. And I feel bad saying this. I did an interview with his high school coach last week. Really nice guy. Doocy was one of the great high school players ever to come out of Pennsylvania, high school quarterbacks, a state that's produced Unitas in Montana and Namath and names like that. So the hopes were obviously high, and it's just one game and everything. I guess it's part of it's being comfortable with what and Kellen Moore, again, getting back to that, has worked with Cooper Rush as a backup for 3 seasons, right? So even though neither Gilbert nor Rush has ever started an NFL game, and they've thrown like a total of 9 regular season passes between them I would guess that Rush is probably going to get the nod when it comes down to it.
You're killing me, right? And that's so now I'm sitting here. I'm gonna have to get another sip because how do we start this guy against the Steelers? Their defense. Anybody watch those guys play?
George is about to go off.
I mean, does it even matter though?
But it's the better of bad options, I guess. I mean,
there's optics. You go in. Man, I'm just telling you.
They want to do all this with the quarterbacks, but they don't want to do this with the defense.
Personally, I wouldn't mind seeing Danucci try it again. I like his moxie, as Al Michaels put it, and I'd be just curious to see what he would do working with the ones for a second straight week, and being a little more used to the speed of the game, as they always say, coming out again against a much better defense this week. But Philly rushes the passer pretty well, so he experienced that anyway. But
George, here's a
you. I don't
know. Going back to when you tried to buy your number back in Miami, does Cooper Rush have to pay Ben DiNucci to get number 7 back now, or a different number?
What is he gonna pay? $100 or what? Golly,
I don't know. That was your thing in Miami.
Oh man, yeah. So I have to remind everybody about that. So I'm still mad because I could not get number 31 when I went to the Miami Dolphins. So Doocy, this was the beginning of my downfall, I guess, with Jimmy Johnson with the Miami Dolphins. After I signed a pretty good free agent deal there, like everybody, I wanted to get number 31, and there was a young rookie there that had got number 31. And so I did like everybody else. I was going to offer up some cash to get the number from him, right? We had already worked out the deal and everything else. So I go into the training room, equipment room, tell him, hey, we're going to switch numbers. I'm going to take 31. He's going to put on another number. Well, I don't know. Let me check it out. I got to talk to Jimmy Johnson first. Jimmy comes back and says, no, you can't. You guys can't switch numbers. What are you talking about? Yeah. And I'm like, what do you mean? No, he's just got to keep his number. You got to pick another number. We're not going to let you have his number. And that was truly the beginning of
beginning of the end.
Yeah, that was it kind of fast. So I still don't understand the reasoning.
He didn't give you a reason. Didn't have to. Jimmy being Jimmy.
Well, he didn't give me a reason when he benched me after a couple interception games.
Oh boy.
After one of those, that it was I'm gonna this. No, he did give me a reason. I'm sorry. I want to try a different combination in the secondary. So that's it, Jimmy. What happened? No, I just want to try a different combination. We're going to move Calvin Jackson into our corner in the safety, and you'll be out. That's when I first learned the business side. Second time I learned about the business side of them taking snap counts and making sure I didn't meet my playing time incentives. But anyway,
so
we'll have our
Tim and JT. Apparently, we've reached the airing of grievances portion.
Oh yeah. Yes. This is
weekly segment.
Yes.
I don't blame him. Hey, it's just the way it is,
Yeah.
And now
So Doocy, who's the best quarterback, active, uninjured quarterback in the NFC East right now?
I hate to say it, but it's Daniel Jones.
Well, the best active, uninjured quarterback in the NFC East.
Because I don't want you to say. So we got Daniel Jones.
You don't think it's obviously Carson Wentz?
I got Daniel Jones. I'm with JT.
They're going Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I'd still
probably
still go Wentz, as bad as he looked the other night.
I'm going Wentz too.
Nah.
So thank you. There's two people on this show that know what they're talking about. They're on this side of the
screen. And it's me and IndyCar Tim.
Wait, how do I do it? One of them's down here.
Hard to do it. Here and there, right there.
So I had a Daniel Jones moment in high school I could tell you about real quick. Sophomore year, state tournament in Iowa, baseball. And I wasn't playing, but I was excited because they had pregame introductions like over a PA system and stuff, and they introduced the reserves as well. So comes my chance to be my time to be introduced, and the guy over the PA, first base, number 7, Mike Doocy. And I come up out of the dugout and take that last step, and the toe cleat on my spike kind of caught the top of the step, and I did like a swan dive across the grass. White uniform. Oh,
You
that
should
was
have
my
broke out
Daniel
into
Jones
worm.
moment, and it wasn't even in competition. It was before the game. My coach looked at me. He's like, "Doocy, just stand in line here. Just get in line. Try not to
So-
mess anything else up."
Yeah. What's the over under how long they show the Daniel Jones fall? How many years is that this is going to be on his whole career TV?
Yeah. Music videos, the whole bit. Yeah, that was a classic, no doubt.
All right. Last thing as we get ready to wind this thing down with him, Tim and JT. I like to hear from all of you guys about this. So this Steelers game, what do we? Anybody picking the Cowboys to win? And if you're not, still, what do you think the score is going to be? Either way, Tim, you go first.
Let's see. The Cowboys scored about what I thought the last couple of games. So I'm going to stick with Steelers probably somewhere 35-13.
Ooh, got 13 out of the deal. JT?
Hey, Cooper Rush.
I'm going to go 45-3, and 3 is being generous.
Doocy, are you allowed to do this? I don't want to get you in any.
No, I always pick the games. And I picked 31-21 Philly last week. How I thought Dallas was going to score 21 points, I'll never know. I would say a 31-10 type game. I'll say the Cowboys have to score another touchdown eventually, don't they? So I'll say they score 1 touchdown and a field goal. And the defense was a little bit encouraging last week, I thought. So maybe they'll. Yeah, I like Diggs a lot. I mean, George knows this better than anybody. You're going to have your ups and downs as a young player playing that position, but seems to have a little bit of a nose for the football, so that's encouraging.
I might even make the call that Diggs gets a pick 6, and there's your touchdown for the Cowboys.
Okay,
right?
all right.
Nah, I'm not going to go that far. There. I'll say Minka has maybe 2 pick 6s though. That's how they get to 45.
Yeah, okay. So me and JT were probably a little closer. And I guess I'll put an asterisk by mine because I was going to say that as long as the Steelers have their starting defense in, because I think they're going to have to make some subs later, that the Cowboys don't score.
Oh, at all? Okay.
Not when their group is in there. When they start unloading, putting in some other people, then we might get to those other things y'all are talking about, the 3, the 10. Well, how much did you say? Or the 13? But I don't think in the beginning.
If I was going to bet on this game, I would say Steelers minus anything. I don't care what the line is. Steelers minus anything.
Steelers minus anything, regardless of the line, is what JT says.
What is the line, though? Are they 10?
Oh, I haven't.
It's got to be at least that.
It's got to be.
As of yesterday, it was.
I got 9.5.
9.5 with an over under of 43.5.
I wonder with the Dalton news now what it'll be. I can't imagine they've ever been a bigger home underdog in this stadium than they're going to be.
He says 30.
Forgetting something.
I think
it's up to 13.5. Sorry.
I think there's going to be what?
It's 13.5 now. Okay. Incredible. So yeah, things could get ugly again for our beloved Dallas Cowboys. News on who will be our starting quarterback coming later in the week on Fox 4 Sports with Mike Doocy. I'm sure he'll break that news for us.
We're still trying to get it done every night. We had done our free-for-all 30-minute show for about a year and a half until COVID hit, and so we're all working from home now, and we're cut down to probably about 8 minutes most nights in that 10:30 half hour. So we're still giving you a longer sportscast than anybody else and try to get as much info as we can. And, we'll do the sports news when warranted at 5, 6 and on our highly rated 9 o'clock newscast as well. But we appreciate everybody tuning in. Great spending some time with you guys too.
Yeah, we appreciate that. We'll make sure we keep posting it up because you guys do need to watch his free for all. I absolutely love it. I'm always tuning in because he's always got something good. He has good guests, and he keeps it real and he shoots it straight, just like the way that we. Like
hey, real quick, George, can I give a 1 minute Mike Doocy, Steve Eager story?
Let's do it.
So this goes back to 1996. It really doesn't have anything to do with Mike, other than I may have thrown his name out. And I'm at the ballpark in Arlington as the Texas Rangers are about to win their first ever American League West title. I'm in the left field, second level, right in front of where the TV studios were. Had my face painted. My buddy had his face painted, and we have had quite a few adult beverages. Steve Eager was up there looking for people to interview. And both of you guys, I can't remember 96. Both of y'all were fairly new to DFW,
yeah,
I believe.
Yeah, I got here in 94. I think he got here in 95. So, yeah.
Okay. So loved both of you guys, watched Fox 4 even back then, back in the day. And, but again, I'd had a few. So Steve comes down to my seat and says, hey, can we interview you here and, shortly for the 10 o'clock newscast? And we want to do it live just back here. We'll have, turn you around. I'm sure that'd be great. Sure. So as he's interviewing me, and again, I'd had even more to drink since then. I could not get the name Mike Doocy out of my head. And I referred to him on the live interview as Mike, probably 4 or 5 times on camera. Every time I said Mike, he would just look at me like, to his credit, total professional. He never corrected me, but I could just imagine. After the interview was over, he's like, yeah, just go back to your seat. But
yeah, I'm called Steve once in a while, believe me, because we've anchored together for so long. Although he's aged much better than I have. We used to kind of look like one another. There's no comparison now. Plus, my cousin Steve Doocy works for Fox News Channel, so there's that as well. So I get Steve. Yeah, I get Steve once in a while. But
so what's the younger one?
Good man.
So the younger one is
Peter,
nephew,
Steve's son. Peter is
so that's your nephew.
Son. So all the successful Doocy's make the network. I'm still back here doing local.
You get to cover the Cowboys, so I think you win.
Yeah, right. I get to do a lot more fun stuff, I think. Yeah,
you do. Well, there he is, Mr. Mike Doocy from Fox 4 Sports. We love you, Mike. Thank you so much for coming on.
Guys. Yes, sir. Appreciate it, brother.
Right. See you soon. Thank you.
We hope to do it again soon. Take care, brother.
Thanks, man.
There he goes, Mr. Mike Doocy. We appreciate him so very much for popping on. George, you seem to get the well, that's not what I meant to do. Hang on. There we go. You seem to get all of the greatest guests, and you've got all the connections, and it's just amazing. Every week you seem to outdo yourself. So we went a little bit overtime with that interview, but man, how can you not? We could have gone the full hour with Deuce and just gone on and on and on. He's a wealth of knowledge and just a good dude in general.
Well, when you get a chance to get around people that are, on the ground with them, like you said, and being out there and then covering them daily, as much as we like to do it as fans, as former players and all that, when you can get people on like this and like we're going to have on next week with Brian Broaddus, people that are really into this stuff every single day, the knowledge that they can give is just incredible. And,
right.
When you have great relationships like you have with many of these gentlemen and we have, it's cool to reconnect, first of all, but to have them just to come in and sit in our house and talk a little football with us and life, can't beat it. So.
No, good. Sure. So we're right at that time of the show. We're going to take us a quick break, come back, get into Money Matters. Does Mac Jones have a shot at the Heisman? If so, why? And is it only because Trevor got the COVID? We'll talk about that next, but we'll be right back after this. Hey, sports and sports memorabilia fans, this is IndyCar Tim. I want to talk to you about our new friend Chris Gordon over at the Cowboy House, cowboyhousesports.com on the web. Chris is super passionate about all sports, and that's why the Cowboy House is so much more than just a Dallas Cowboys sports memorabilia store. He's got unique game-used memorabilia and rare, hard-to-find autographs for teams across the globe. Everything from the NFL, MLB, NHL, NBA, golf, UFC, soccer, Olympics, even from Hollywood and the political sector. And his store isn't just a fancy mall store. It's more of a man cave that he likes to share with his friends and customers. Come on into the store at 209 South Shady Shores Drive, Suite 200 in Lake Dallas, and you can walk on the Texas Stadium end zone turf. You can sit in a chair from Yankee Stadium or Texas Rangers Globe Life Park. Check out hundreds of autographed jerseys from hundreds of teams. Check out thousands of photos signed with certificates of authenticity. He's also got custom framing for all of your sports memorabilia items. Chris Gordon over at CowboyHouseSports.com, 214-551-5978. Thank you, Cowboy House.
Need a one-stop shop for Cowboys news and happenings over at the Star in Frisco? Click on over to CowboysSI.com, featuring Mike Fisher with 30 years experience covering America's team. It's the most popular of all the Sports Illustrated sites and home to the Cowboys Blitzcast podcast. CowboysSI.com is the place to get inside your Cowboys. With such a talented team of writers and reporters over there, you'll always know the latest about personnel and roster moves, salary cap issues, and draft class status. Click on over to CowboysSI.com and always be in the know and get the inside scoop on America's team.
The Maverick Bar and Grill in Carrollton, Texas, North Dallas's premier sports bar and grill, located at 1616 West Hebron Parkway. It's 16 minutes from just about anywhere in DFW. With all the live action on dozens of TVs and the big screen, it's the place to hang out and watch the return of sports with all of your favorites. Friday and Saturday nights, you'll find the best live music in DFW right there at the Maverick Bar. And of course, on Thursday nights at 6 p.m., you'll find us broadcasting Teague's Take live with Alabama and Cowboys legend George Teague. Come hang out and be a part of the show. Check out the Maverick Bar and Grill in Carrollton, 972-492-7500, or on the web at themaverickbar.com.
Hey, podcast listeners, this is IndyCar Tim, and I want to talk to you about some friends of ours over at ProfoundSites.com. That's Brent Thomas at ProfoundSites.com for your personal and commercial needs. We're talking about websites built, repaired, secured, maintained, and websites found. Brent Thomas and ProfoundSites.com provide e-commerce development, website development, online marketing, and web, mobile, and e-commerce consulting. With over 10 years experience, ProfoundSites.com is responsible for the creation of GeorgeTeague.com, where you can hear the George Teague podcast called Teague's Take each week. Brent Thomas and ProfoundSites.com can take you through the entire pain-free process of building your new website, from initial discussion to planning, to design, to coding, programming, and then finally the launch. Contact Brent Thomas at ProfoundSites.com or email him at brent@ProfoundSites.com.
Increase time inside your home, noticing all the little things needing attention? Let Repair Resource be your one trusted contractor to tackle all your home repair needs. They do it all, from electrical, plumbing, drywall, to painting and flooring of all types. They can even handle your exterior needs like fencing, patio covers, concrete pads, and decking. No job is too big and no job is too small. Repair Resource does it all. Give them a call at 972-415-1198 or check them out on the web at repair-resource.com.
Meat Church. Do you need to take your barbecue and grilling game to the next level? Check out the great line of products from Meat Church Barbecue. From seasoning and rubs to full-blown recipes like pork belly burnt ends, smoked queso, beef ribs to smoked bologna, and Texas-style brisket, Meat Church has what you need. If your barbecue and grilling game is lacking, check out their barbecue classes and events. They'll help you raise your game to impress your friends and family. If you're in the Waxahachie area, please check out their store at 205 West College Street or give them a call at 214-980-1063 or head on over to meatchurch.com for locations near you where all their great products are available. Or order directly from them online at meatchurch.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to Teague's Take on this Tuesday night. We appreciate everybody popping in and watching the stream. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Periscope, the comments section is open. If you'd like to talk to us, ask us a question, or specifically ask George a question. Nobody wants to ask me a question. But those comments are open. I can put it on the screen for you, and we can go from there. If you are listening to the recorded podcast on your favorite podcast app or on GeorgeTeague.com, feel free to reach out to George or any of us on Twitter. I am at IndyCar Tim. He is at Teague Football. JT is at Teague13. God, yes, I remember.
Yes.
You got it.
At Teague13, and you can use the hashtag #AskTeague on any social media platform, and we'll make sure we see that. And if it's a good enough question, we may bring it up on the next show and talk to you about that quickly. Before we get into money matters, though, George, I think we need to make an announcement about the virtual show here for the next year, as well as whatever you wanted to do with your mini helmets.
Yeah, so there's we're taking an abundance of caution, and I can, talk about this a little bit just because I think we've all kind of been affected, whether it's personally or not. I'm dealing with a lot within our school and things of that nature, and with worried about people's safety and all that kind of stuff. I couldn't have it on my conscience that, I could be exposing people or putting people in position where they might be getting exposed to COVID and things of that nature. So we did speak with the owners of the Maverick. We're so grateful for them and thankful that they host us every single week, that we thought it would be good to take a small hiatus away from the bar for a little while. So we're going to be remote, whether that's in our house together somewhere else or on somewhere, some other location. But we will not be at the Maverick for all of November. Okay, all of November. We will discuss what December looks like, but with the holidays coming up, the break, and all that kind of stuff, we're going to stay away. So y'all just stay tuned. If we are somewhere else other than, in the comfort of our house, we'll let you know. Then next, so I got a couple things here, and I asked a couple guys last week and people to leave comments on either YouTube or Facebook, and that I would sign one of these helmets and mail it to someone. And so we did have quite a few people who actually did what we asked them to do, and they live out of town and things of that nature. So we have chosen our winner. He can pick either one of these mini helmets. It could be the Dallas hat or the Alabama hat. I got an idea which one he's going to I've got an idea what he's going to pick. But Craig Young, you need to make sure you reach out to me because you are the winner of one of our mini helmets. He'll clap for you here in just a second. Congratulations to that. You just need to make sure you reach out to me. I need to get your email address somehow. So if you send it through Facebook, make sure you send it to Teague's Take so that I can look at it. If you can get to me via Twitter or Instagram, you can find me at Teague's Take on those as well. And then we'll communicate and I'll get this mailed out to you. So congratulations to you. And thank you to everybody for reaching out and communicating with us the way that you do in the comment section of the show.
Lots of fun and lots more giveaways coming up in the near future. And as George said, just taking all the precautions with the virtual shows here for the foreseeable future. We just, as he mentioned, we don't want to get anybody sick. We don't want to get sick ourselves. COVID's affected people very close to us and George personally. And it's just the safe and the responsible thing to do for now. But we'll get back out there, talk to everybody, say hello, and maybe at that point things will be a little bit safer and we can actually shake hands and fist bump and say hello. So we'll get back out there to the Maverick. We'll make announcements when we can do that. But JT, what's going on with Money Matters this week?
Well, with Money Matters this week, we are going to talk about the new odds-on favorite for the Heisman Trophy, which is now Mac Jones. So, I would like all the people who thought that Mac Jones before the season was going to win the Heisman to put their hands up. And all of you who did are all liars.
Bunch of liars.
Thought that Mac Jones was going to be the favorite to win the Heisman. Depending on where you look, he's now at plus 125. And Alabama actually has 3 players on the list that are that have betting odds for the Heisman Trophy. But now that potentially that Trevor Lawrence is going to miss 2 games, Mac Jones and Justin Field has told him to move out of the way. They're going to sit at the top of the charts until further notice.
Did you see what Jones's Heisman Trophy odds were coming into the season?
I remember I could be wrong, but I think it was like plus 2,000 before, plus 2,200.
100 is what I have.
What'd you have?
Plus 2,500.
2,500.
Wow.
Yeah. So Mac Jones is third in the NCAA in passing yards. He's got 16 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. He's only been sacked 7 times. He's completing about 79% of his passes, all of which actually is all but one is actually outperforming Trevor Lawrence right now. So, I mean, I didn't think he was going to do this well. I had faith that he was going to be good. I didn't think that we were going to be having to have a conversation on whether Mac Jones is actually going to be the best quarterback to have ever played at Alabama.
He was the first to win a Heisman, right? First Alabama quarterback to win the Heisman?
I believe so. So.
Yeah, and statistically, though, you just went over it. I mean, what he is doing, I don't know why there's not more talk, because I'm still, when you listen to the pundits or whatever, that they're still talking about now, Justin Fields more than they're even talking about Mac Jones. And, I mean, he's only 2 games in, right? And he's, does that weigh into any of this when it comes to voting time on the number of games, or is it purely just talent? How much does stats really weigh into it? And is there a pass because of COVID years, that you still can be the best college player if you only hadn't gone through the same trials and tribulations if you're playing less games than somebody else? What do y'all think?
Well, and my question would be, our Heisman votes, I mean, clearly Trevor Lawrence has been the favorite all season. He's been a favorite the last 2 seasons. Are Heisman voters going to punish him for his COVID diagnosis and for him having to miss games? Or are they going to is this going to be an emotional thing where he comes back fully recovered, continues to excel, but he missed, 3 games potentially, and they're going to say, you know what, we can't punish him for that. Let's give it to him anyway. And to me, that's a likely scenario, and that would not bode well for Mac Jones for sure.
I think I can see a scenario where Trevor Lawrence has put himself behind the 8 ball here, because stats do play a little bit of it. Who you play plays a little bit of it. I think how many games you end up playing is going to be something that is a little bit of it now. Oh,
that was me. Go ahead.
Oh, and he's going to miss. So at first I thought, it was going to be, he didn't play against BC and they struggled. And you could point to that and say, hey, look how bad Clemson is when Trevor Lawrence doesn't play. But the one thing that everybody looks for, or that all the voters look for, is that Heisman moment. They always talk about that Heisman moment. And now that he's going to miss Notre Dame, who is supposed to be their biggest competition so far, if they end up going out and beat Notre Dame, they might smack them around. Who knows?
There's no way to beat Notre Dame without Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, they still favorite by a big amount.
Yeah, I was going to say
that. I don't get that.
Even with,
I don't know.
That's trying to say, and I think this is going to what JT's saying, is that does that hurt Trevor Lawrence? If you go in there with the backup and you still whoop up on Notre Dame, what difference is it going to make? I mean, anyway, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I just wonder, does Trevor Lawrence get his Heisman moment? That the only way that it would happen then is if Notre Dame wins, Clemson still they still have to win out. They'll have to play Notre Dame again, and Trevor Lawrence is going to have to not struggle. Not to say he would, but he's going to have to put up monstrous numbers to say, hey, I am that dude, and I can go take down Notre Dame. I think short of that, it's going to be probably Mac Jones to lose.
Yeah, he's still almost 500 yards ahead of Trevor Lawrence, right? With 1 game less.
He is. He's 300 yards ahead of him right now.
Well, and what Mac Jones has going for him this year that other Alabama quarterbacks have not had going for them in previous years is that the focus this season is not on the defense. The defense has struggled mightily this year. The focus is on the offense. The offensive unit is the dominant side of the ball for that team this year, and Mac Jones is the quarterback. So this isn't a situation where, Heisman voters or other fans could have said, the defense has carried them to this national championship. Yes. I mean, look at Jay. Look at Jay back in y'all's year. Jay had a great year, but man, y'all had a defense, But this year, man, it is all Mac Jones and it is all offense. So he's got that going for him that other quarterbacks from Alabama in the past have not.
Hold on. You're going to be able to look for this last game we just played on Saturday.
41-0.
Oh, I was just saying. I was just wondering about defense. You said 0 points. I was just wondering what that meant.
Look at the defense this year. You even commented on it.
Oh, wait. I got to tell y'all something. Breaking news. Oh, my gosh.
Dun, 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 dun.
So I got a I'm giving away gifts, man. I need to go grab it. I got a tremendous gift. I went to the Alabama game this week. I hadn't even posted it yet. That's why I'm crazy. I really need to walk away and let people see what I got when I went to Alabama.
All right, we'll go do that.
I'm going to grab it. Y'all go ahead and talk.
Shut him up right now.
Yeah, so all I was going to say was the Ole Miss game, I think you can define as one of his Heisman moments, basically just not being stopped on offense. And then you've got the Georgia game, which was supposedly the number one defense in the country.
Right.
And we couldn't stop it. They couldn't stop Mac then. Now he's down a receiver in Jalen Waddle, and he's still putting up numbers. I think he has a legitimate shot at this now. I think this is what Joe Burrow was last year is kind of what Mac Jones is looking like this year.
Do you think the loss of Waddle is going to hurt his Heisman chances? I mean, it didn't last game, but it was Mississippi State.
No, I think if they keep on a roll, it kind of helps his Heisman chances because he's got one less weapon now, right?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, George,
I'm going to interrupt. So you're going to think I'm crazy when I first show this up because this is a jersey. You would think it's mine, but I met and I got a gift from a signed jersey from Malachi Moore.
You're going to give that away?
Huh?
You're going to give that away?
Heck no, I'm not giving it away. I'm keeping it. This is a gift to me, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm so excited that
that's very cool.
New current number 13 at Alabama gifted me a jersey. We're not connected, but I talk with his mother, Penny, on Twitter a whole lot, and so I was kind of joking around and said, "Hey, I'm gonna be at the game. Maybe we can meet." And I can get a jersey, blah, blah, blah. And bam, there it is. They gave me one. So that is pretty cool. So I
can't believe you hadn't posted that anywhere yet.
I know. I wanted to make sure that she was okay that I could do it first too as well. So that will be out there, but you heard it first here on Teague's Take. I got a Malachi Moore jersey, who was the SEC Defensive Player of the Week as well. So it's pretty cool, pretty cool. All right. I missed what you guys were talking about with Mac Jones. So are we saying that we think it's a legitimate shot? Does he got to get – so after when we beat LSU, that puts him in another –
Yeah, if they put up as many points as Auburn did and Mac throws for another 400 yards, like I said, I think it's going to be – it's Mac Jones's to lose right now.
I agree for sure.
Yes, but why? Why? Maybe you guys hit it. I apologize, but why do you think other people are still trying to push Justin Fields, or maybe even? I'm hearing a lot about draft. Is it because they think Trevor Lawrence is going to be the first pick of the draft that now we got to lean towards him being the Heisman winner, or Justin Fields? They're saying they're both going to be 1 and 2. And there's no talk about Mac Jones in the league.
Well, I think Mac Jones has the one thing that he has a problem of overcoming, and I think I did write about this in the very first blog post that I put up on your site, was Alabama quarterbacks basically since the beginning of time their job description has been, don't screw this up. We're going to run the ball. We're going to play defense. You just hand the ball off, make the throws you're supposed to make, get out the way, And that hasn't been the case at Ohio State and Clemson. Not that Clemson has a long line of quarterbacks, but you've got Boyd in the past. You've got Deshaun Watson, who just came back from there. And then with Ohio State, you've got Terrell Pryor, JT Barrett, and Cardale Jones was up there putting up a whole bunch of numbers.
Is Kyle Trask a senior this year down in Florida?
Kyle Trask is a senior, and he was in the Heisman conversation. I mean, I guess he's still kind of in the Heisman conversation.
I got him drafting ahead of Justin Fields. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, anything can happen, right? Daniel Jones went 6th overall, and somehow Mitchell Trubisky got picked before Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Deshaun Watson. But I digress.
Well,
Kyle Trask had the unfortunate opportunity of having to miss 2 games too. So,
right. See, JT's getting really good at this. You're going to be the next Mike Doocy because what's the term you guys use in your world of how you segue into another piece of it? Well, JT gave us a good segue into Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson. Who you taking? Who's
Can you clarify the question? Taken for what? Based on what? Like right now?
I'll be a little bit. Yes, right now. Who's a better quarterback right now? Today?
So I'm conflicted. I'm not a huge fan of either one. I think Kyler Murray's. The odds are against him because of his size. Lamar Jackson, of course, is a past MVP, but this year his game has regressed exponentially from his MVP season. He is not having a good year at all. He's back to being inaccurate. He's panicking when he gets rushed. He's making bad choices throwing the ball. I mean, like right now, this second, if I had to pick one of them to quarterback my team, I'd pick Kyler Murray, but I'm not comfortable with that pick either, to be honest with you.
Okay. JT?
I'm torn. I'm really going to kind of deflect. I don't know if I think long term, Kyler Murray is probably going to be better.
Really? Because
the problem I'm having with it is Lamar Jackson. Other than Hollywood Brown, I can't name a receiver for the Baltimore Ravens.
Des Bryant, hello.
Wow.
They got a good tight end. And Andrews.
Yeah, what's his name?
Andrews is his last name.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I bet you can name the whole starter. I bet you can name the whole receiving core for Arizona though.
Well, now I know Hopkins and
Larry Fitzgerald, Christian Kirk.
Yeah, Christian Kirk is there.
Yeah, I mean those are the 3 guys. Then you got Kenyon Drake in the backfield and Chris Edmonds. Well, you had Kenyon Drake. Now you got Chris Edmonds, who's no slouch. But the offense for the Ravens is good enough, I guess. They're winning games.
Well, he threw for 3,000. Okay, so here's what. Last year, Lamar, how do you explain? Same group. It's the same offense, right? For the Ravens. He threw for over 3,000 yards last year, 36 touchdowns. What's the difference between this year and last year?
It's called overachieving. So y'all remember when they cut Flacco and named Jackson their quarterback, he had a terrible camp. He did not have a good rookie season. He was having issues understanding the playbook. Those were the words, the word coming out of camp, is that he didn't understand the playbook. He was confused on plays, confused by the defense. And I called immediately for his complete and utter failure in the NFL. Well, then he goes out and has a great season and wins an MVP. Well, to me, the MVP season is the anomaly. And what we're seeing now is the more realistic Lamar Jackson that you're going to see for the rest of his career. Now, he's got a great coach. He's got a proven coach. And and Harbaugh.
Oh,
And
I wanted to talk about the other Harbaugh, but continue.
so the another, I talked about Kyler Murray's disadvantage of his size. I also think Kyler Murray has a disadvantage at head coach. I don't think he's an NFL head coach. I get it. He's a quarterback whisperer. I know what he did for Johnny Manziel. I know what he did for Kyler Murray when he was at A&M. We know what he's done in the past. And I know what their record is this year. I just don't think he failed as a college coach. And how does that failure as a college coach translate to success at the NFL level? I just don't think that happens.
But Kyler Murray's still on pace to throw for almost 4,000 yards,
sure,
30 touchdowns, and
maybe he can win the Heisman this year.
And he had a terrible game against the Cowboys. Telling how many touchdowns he should have threw against the Cowboys that he missed, just flat out missed. And I don't know. I just wonder if we don't give our dual threat guys enough credit sometimes for what they try to do with their legs. There's got to be a give and take. What dual threat guys have we seen that were like the best passers in the world? The Randall Cunninghams, I guess we can go back that far. The Michael Vicks, how many of them are actually just lighting it up through the air?
Yeah, because you used to be either a running quarterback or a passing quarterback. You couldn't be both. And Lamar Jackson and now Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I was going to say Patrick Mahomes is probably the best at doing both.
And Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
Doing both. You want to throw Dak in there. They don't let him run as much as the other quarterbacks, but we know he can do it.
Why y'all ain't talking about Cam Newton either then? Why y'all ain't put
because Cam Newton doesn't actually throw a good ball.
No, he's a terrible quarterback. And you're seeing that now. What he's absolutely not doing up in New England. Hey, real quick, can we go back to Alabama? Because this comment is confusing me. I don't know what this is about, Tommy. Think about all of Alabama's championships before Nick. 0. Is he saying they didn't win any championships before Nick Saban? I'm confused by the comment.
I think maybe
Heisman winners.
I think the four exclamation points probably shouldn't have been there and should have been at the end where the full stop is.
So it's a punctuation thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I was very confused.
I'm hoping that's what he meant.
Yeah, Tommy and I go way, way back. JT, you even know Tommy. You probably don't know that you know Tommy because you would have been young at that time. But Tommy was
still young. What are you talking about?
Oh, you got kids. You're not young anymore. Once you have a baby, you're old. So you put zero Heisman.
He clarified zero Heisman. Yeah. Thank you, Tommy. I apologize for calling you out.
Tommy works for Nucor Steel out in Arkansas. They used to sponsor my basketball tournament, or not tournament, but
if you want to call it basketball, let's be honest.
Man, I was the leading scorer. Anyway, so
what's your take on your own question? You going with Lamar or you going with Kyler?
That's why
you didn't have an answer. You asked the question and didn't have an answer.
I do got an answer. I think I'm going with
changing his mind mid-show.
I'm going with Kyler Murray. I said that beforehand. I know a lot of people are in love with the way that maybe the electricity that Lamar has, but I do see him maybe going backwards, and I still think there's room for growth in Kyler. I'm with you, size and all that, but as I said before we played him, the way he runs and as fast he is, and he doesn't take unnecessary hits. This past week, Lamar was being way too risky from the quarterback position of trying to run the ball and getting hit right underneath the chin, and that's how you shorten your contract really, really quick. And one thing that Kyler doesn't do is take those unnecessary hits. He's going to slide or get out of bounds or whatever.
Hit him high, he'll just duck under him.
Yeah, he don't even have to duck under him. He just run under him. But I think he can work on the accuracy. And like you're saying, maybe it's a coach, maybe it's something. I don't know. I don't think anything changes too drastically, regardless of who your coach is at this point. I just think that he's going to make better decisions, at some point and be a more valuable quarterback. Okay.
So why don't you quickly then moving along, why don't you give us an update on TAPS football here in Texas and JP2? Tell us what's going on. Catch everybody up.
I will. So This week we had a really good game. JT can, probably attest to that. Even though it was a loss, I can say it was a really good game. The JP2 we played Parish Episcopal, who's the number one private school in the state. Got one of the best quarterbacks in the nation there, and some others. And we actually went into overtime with these guys. We played it. We lost to them in the state championship. Huh?
We got no business being in overtime.
Yeah, that's true. We probably don't need to get into all that part, but we lost 58-51 to Parish Episcopal in an overtime game at JP2. And
what are TAPS? Hey, explain real quick what the overtime rules are in TAPS.
College
rules.
Overtime, one possession at the 25, take turns. God, I love that, man. I wish the NFL would do that.
They're not going to do that.
I know, but I absolutely love that format.
Yeah, so that's really good. It's been a little bit different for us, awkward. I'm saying awkward just with the COVID and people having to cancel games and do certain things. It was, even for us, we were quarantined for 2 weeks, so we missed a couple games. So there's a lot of hard work in trying to make it happen. But I tell you what, there's some really, really good football teams that we've played, some really good players that we've had to play. This week we're playing All Saints. Y'all remember when we had Aaron Beck on way back? That might have been week 2 or 3.
2, I think.
We're playing against this team. So the Brockermeyer boys will be playing against this week, and their quarterback who's going to Michigan State as well. So we got to have a good win there. But things are starting to shape up. I think we're probably ranked at this point 2nd or 3rd in our district, 2nd in the state right now. So it's looking pretty doggone good. We just got to worry about Houston St. Thomas down, obviously, in Houston. They're a pretty good team that we could face, and Nolan Catholic Parish, and can never forget about Prestonwood, who's right up the road.
They're power out.
Yep, we didn't get a chance to play them because of the COVID stuff, and it may or may not happen. We don't know. So we got 2 more weeks of football. So before we go into the playoffs for us with our 8-game season. So it's been really good, really good, man. I'm proud of my guys, proud of my football team, my parents, everybody, just trying to get through these times, because as hard as it is for college and pros, try it with some high school kids and keeping them masked up and socially distanced all the time is tough to do. So
gotcha.
That's that. I just saw Craig sent me his email. I'm going to try to find it because I really would like to try to, before we go, if I could give him 3 minutes on the air. Let me try to find him real quick.
All right. And so I guess, JT, while he's doing that, we can, if you want to talk a little bit about, we can get back into Cowboys and Steelers.
Yeah, sure. I had a question for you regarding the other Harbaugh, though. When you were you were asking me, we were talking about what the Money Matter segment was going to be, and I had said I was looking for other topics. I had another topic, and then I did something, and then I immediately forgot. But you reminded me with John Harbaugh about Jim Harbaugh. Now, he's been the coach at Michigan for I don't know how many years now. And I have repeatedly asked the question, at least the last 3 seasons, are they ever going to let this man go? And I guess the question to you is, do you think that he deserves – I don't want to say deserves because that's mean. Do you think it's time for Michigan to move on from Jim Harbaugh? Better yet, does Michigan have a Jim Harbaugh problem?
I think Jim Harbaugh is the problem in Michigan. I don't think there's a question about it. He is underachieving with the recruiting classes that he's had and with the talent on that team. He's got to be the problem. Well, he has yet to beat Ohio State, right? I mean,
yes.
That's a death sentence in Michigan. I mean, that's what 3. How long has he been there? 4 years?
No. I think he's been there longer than that. I know he's 1-6 at home between
that's right.
between Michigan State and Ohio State. And that one is definitely not against Ohio State.
Right. No, that was Michigan State. God, God, yeah, you know what? You're probably there. How long? How has he stayed there this long?
Here's what I've been saying, and this
Money?
is why I didn't like the hire to begin with, and I pray that Alabama doesn't do this because they've done it in the past, and that's how teams end up stagnating and declining. Is when you hire somebody who is like, you know, he's a Michigan guy, right? He's an alum. He's from Michigan. That's his favorite place. And when you do that, it makes it very difficult for you to get rid of him because now you're emotionally attached to this guy. And Tommy, I hope you're right. I don't think they will. I think with the COVID thing, they're going to just give him another pass, and then he's going to lose to Ohio State again next year, and then maybe they'll think about it. And because they were actually good, they were actually talking about giving him a lifetime contract. And I don't understand, one, what that means. Like, why would you do this? Why would you ever give anybody a lifetime contract? And two, what did he deserve to do it to get that? I have no idea. But I think the only reason that he's there is because he's a Michigan alum, and they don't want to be the people that fired John Harbaugh.
Well, you know what? If you're okay with a mediocre football team and a mediocre conference, then good luck to you. If that's what you want, because you want the name Jim Harbaugh as your head coach for the rest of eternity, more power to you. And you know what? I bet you Michigan State and Ohio State and Penn State, I bet you they all love that.
They love it. They love it. I mean, Penn State's got the same problem. They have late game James Franklin. You know, James Franklin is good for 48, 50 minutes, and then 10 minutes, and then Penn State falls apart. You know, they're the who was it that did this? They're the Falcons of the Big Ten. You know, don't need to be scoring and fall into the end zone and then wonder why they lose.
I mean, look what Texas Tech did to Kingsbury. Right? There's not a more popular player from Texas. Well, I mean, maybe Mahomes now, but another popular player at Texas Tech than Cliff Kingsbury.
Mm-hmm.
And what, he lasts 3 seasons? And they were like, see ya, because he couldn't win. And
did they say see ya, or did he immediately just leave and go to the Cardinals?
Well, no, he went to USC first.
Oh, right.
And then resigned because what head coach he was playing under or coaching under at USC, it wouldn't let him talk to Arizona, so he just say, okay, then I quit, and he went and talked to Arizona.
It was probably Helton still.
It was a mutual party. Like, they're like, yeah, if you want to go to USC, by God, please go.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
okay.
I don't know what Michigan, what their deal is, but you know what? Again, if they want to live in mediocrity and they're happy with that, then more power to you.
Mm-hmm.
So let me throw this out just real quick to you guys. Switch subjects. And I just sent a message over to Craig just to try to see if he'll check his email to get on real quick. But I want to ask you guys, because this kind of hit me as a player, former player, all of us in the shoes. Man, what is going on? And I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name. You know, they stick an IV in before a player before the game, and
Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah. What is? I mean, this is multiple times that we've had players get.
Now Tyrod was
injuries.
Tyrod was a special case, and I feel for Tyrod because that particular doctor, which again don't know how he has a job, has been accused of malpractice before and lost his license. And he gets his license back, and the Chargers are like, "Oh yeah, come and work for our players." I don't that what.
Well, and that's why I'm going to, is there a problem in the league? Is this another one of the things we're going to try to put on COVID? Is this, these are the kind of things that can ruin a guy's career.
It did ruin his. He lost his job.
Yeah, he might be.
And because of the way the CBA is written and all that kind of stuff, you're basically always sign, it's that disclosure statement that you don't even know that you're signing, that you can't sue the guy or whatever. And, I'm sure it will have to be, because you're going to have to get some, the team will probably give him some kind of settlement or some crap, but I think it's getting kind of out of hand with what's the quarterback's name that got the punctured lung when they were
Tyrod Taylor.
That was Tyrod Taylor.
No, so I'm talking about the new guy that just got the new guy that they were giving an IV this Sunday, giving an IV before the game, and they had air bubbles. They put the air bubbles in his bloodstream.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Giving an IV during
Mark
the game.
Fields.
So they rush him to the hospital right before the game.
No, that's something else.
Because they're giving him an IV. You know, that's unacceptable to me that, you know, this guy is going in there having to have emergency work done to him because
doctors are messing up.
Yes. And so this is a different team, something going on. But what I don't understand why there's not some kind of repercussions of, you know, doing stuff like this to guys that before the game.
Trent Brown. He's a lineman. Raiders right tackle.
Yikes! I didn't hear about that.
That's not scary to you, bro? They're just gonna drop some stuff, and then all this. I don't even know how they know they got air in your blood. I don't know if it pops out of the bag or what, but
I don't know. But that could have killed him.
Yeah.
Yes. So he rolls off. All the players are looking at him. He's normal. Can you imagine that? You're in the locker room. You're getting hyped. You're getting ready to go. You're doing your normal routine. Maybe he gets IVs all the time. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But all of a sudden, they're coming in with a gurney or something and rolling you out, putting you in an ambulance. And the head coach has to go out there and tell the team and everybody else that, all right, we still got a game to go play, and our lineman is gone. You know, I don't know. That just kind of hits me in a different way. I guess you guys can tell me if you think I'm overreacting or something, but I just think that's
no. I don't think you're overreacting at all. It's
ridiculous.
Clearly unfortunate. I don't know what kind of vesting process the NFL has or what the teams have. If, you know, what the criteria is to qualify as a team doctor. If you're hired by the team, you're hired by the NFL, or you have to be approved by the NFL, or you have to have a certain number of qualifications or years in practice or residency at a hospital. I mean, you know, what trauma, I don't know, whatever the qualifications are for a team doctor. I'm sure there's a bunch of them, and they just don't let any, well, I wouldn't think they'd let any Yahoo in to be your team doctor, but as a player, you kind of trust those guys to take care of your, not just your health, but your life in some cases. You know, and if that would give me some pause as a player, you know, I might start questioning things a little bit more.
Well, yeah, and you do assume because you're at a, you know, billion-dollar teams with, you know, all the best things and all the best people and some very great minds. I mean, you hear of Dr. Andrews and Dr. Cooper and, you know, all the others that are there that you just kind of, I mean, it's not ever a question, you know, on the 4 teams that I played on, you never ever question the trainers or the people. They just tell you to go see the person and you go.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you have things like this happen, and I don't know, it just seems to be a little bit more than usual. I can't think of 2 times like this in 1 year where, you know, someone's, and there's probably other things, right, going on.
Sure.
But these have just been drastic, you know, that, oh my gosh. Anyway, I need to blow V8 about that a little bit because that was on me a little bit too hard. That it did what? Almost killed the guy, you know, and he hadn't spoken yet. I'm going to be curious to hear what that conversation is going to be. Is he lawyered up already, or trying to figure out what is this going to look like? You know, when can he play? You know, what happens when you get air in your vein?
Embolisms.
Yeah, embolisms. You die.
I mean,
So,
how do you
depends
recover?
It depends on where it goes, right? Because it depends if whether it's going down. If it goes down to your foot, then maybe it's not that bad. But if it's going up to your brain and you get an embolism in your brain, that it's over.
Well, I don't even know how you fix it. I don't know how you know, and that's not for me to know. I'm not a doctor and all that. But like you're saying, if there's these ifs, what does that surgery look like? What are you doing? Are you pumping blood out? You know what I mean? It just seems like, can you imagine having Consuela and you and my sister or somebody, my kids sitting out in the stadium, and then we don't run out through the tunnel, and it just, he's headed to the hospital. What happened? I mean, geez, emotional stress, but okay. I don't like dealing on the negative too much anyway. So I just thought that was interesting. So I'm going to leave it with Mac Jones for the Heisman. Great job by Mike Doocy tonight. Thank him again for coming on. Looking forward to some more good high school football and taps, coming up soon. And I'm taking Kyler Murray, brother. Taking Kyler Murray and the Steelers this week. How about that?
There you go. Good call. Good call. Of course, next week, virtually, Brian brought us from 105.3 The Fan, the G-Bag Nation, heard weekdays 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. alongside Gavin Dawson and Jeff Kavanaugh. By the way, Jeff Kavanaugh testing positive for COVID early this week. A shout out to him. Get well, brother. We miss you on the air, and we're thinking about you. And we'll see you on the other side of all of that for sure. But we will be back next week, Tuesday, 8 o'clock Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and, of course, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on your favorite podcast app, the Teague's Take podcast, or at georgeteague.com. There are links to the videos, the audio, all of our upcoming guests, bios for us if you want to read a little bit about us and make fun of us, or make fun of me anyway. That's fine. I'm used to it by now. But all of JT's blog posts and stuff are over there too. Go check some of them.
Yeah, I need to do more.
He's a pretty good writer, I'm not gonna lie, and it's pretty entertaining stuff. He's got some great.
He has a ghostwriter. Her name's Emily.
I do have an editor. It is my sister-in-law.
My sister is my editor, so I got a pretty good one out there. I can't complain too bad.
Man, y'all are big time. I need to get an editor.
Go get one.
Where do you buy them at? Are they on Amazon? Can I get one of those on Amazon?
Yeah, you can get a text editor off of your browser. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Microsoft Word.
Because Consuela, I bet she's on Amazon right now. Probably she got split screen. She listened to the podcast and shopping for some earrings, probably on Amazon right now. Oh no, she said only from Kendra Scott. So anyway,
all right. Well, that's going to do it for us this week. Before George puts his foot in his mouth any farther, we probably need to go ahead and shut things down. For George and JT, I'm IndyCar Tim. Until next week, this is Teague's Take. Everybody, please be safe.